everybody, Bob KK4DIV, and we have our little cart, I guess you could call this, loaded up. One of those little carts with wheels. It's got a handle, pull it behind you. It's loaded up with my QRP gear. Kind of a bigger pack out than I normally carry for QRP, but I've got everything in there. I've got the computer. I have two radios. I have the 817 and that Ailunce HS1 or recent 918, whatever you want to call it, radio in there. I have the Chameleon F-Loop, and I have the in-fed antenna, as well as puppy dog, as well as the mast to support that. Got a little chair in there. Got the 15-watt Harbor Freight solar panel, which is pretty good for keeping the battery topped off while operating QRP. I would like to have a folding solar panel, but that's another story for another time, folks. But today I think I'm just going to pack this up in the truck and head down to the park. I want to talk a little bit more about that Ailunce HS1 radio, things I like about it, things I don't, and just have a radio morning down there at the park and share it with you guys. So come along for the ride. All right, folks, here we are at Kensaw Park, and we've got the QRP Go box there, along with some other material, a couple different radios and all that. So we're out here at the park. They're still working on this post-hurricane. This used to be a grass field. They used it to collect some debris after the storm and really kind of tore it up. But they've put some clay down, and hopefully they'll get some grass and sod or something out here this summer. Get that back to the way it was. It was a nice field. They tore down the pavilion over here as well, so hopefully they get that built back real soon, because that's where I like to sit and operate radio, was under those under that pavilion with the tables and in the shade. So yeah, but they still have the little small gazebo here, and it's a beautiful day. I've got the solar panel, got a couple radios. We're gonna set up and play a little bit and talk a little bit more about this Ailunce HS1 radio and my likes and dislikes about it. We have the Ailunce HS1 receiver, SDR transceiver rather, here on our little aluminum table. You know, I always forget something when I come out to the park, and I forgot my cable that goes from the radio to the computer. However, I went back to get it, and then I got all set up and I realized I left my seal lead acid battery at the house. I was going to set up with the solar panel and have solar battery set up and all of that. Well, once I got to the bottom of the box where the battery normally is, the battery is not there. So it must be at the house on a table somewhere. So I don't have the battery. I do have this little battery that I use with my FT817 running the radio right now. So at least I had a battery. There's my 817 Go kit. But today we're talking about the Ailunce HS1 radio. Alright, so I got this Ailunce HS1 radio off the Retivus website. A friend of mine, N4KGL, had given me a link to this radio, and I was hooked. I had to have it. It looked like an awesome little rig, looked like a great alternative, if you will, to the KX2 or the KX3 radio at like half the price. So I felt like it was something that I just had to get into. So I went ahead and got one. I should have done a little bit of research beforehand, but I didn't. Typical KK4DIV fashion, I just jump right into something. So I went ahead and got it, and when I got the radio, I've already mentioned this, the box says recent RS-918, which is a similar radio after I did my research. I did my research after I bought the radio, but you know, that's okay. So I'm going to read some of the specs for this radio that I got from the Retevis website. And so first thing I'm going to read here is 15 watts power mobile radio. Right there under the title, it says Ailunce HS1 HF SDR ham transceiver. It's a SDR radio, and then right under that, 15 watts. Well, let me tell you something. 15 watts doesn't mean 15 watts on every band. I have found that out. Now, while there are settings and you can go in there and adjust the power for different bands, I went through that whole configuration. I found the instructions on the internet for it. Went through the whole configuration. On most bands, you're not going to get 15 watts. I believe I can get 15 watts on 20 meters and maybe 40 meters, but every other band, maybe 8 to 10 watts. The higher bands, like 10 meters, 15 meters, you're going to see about 5 watts max out of this radio. Another thing I found out, a couple of weekends ago, I had a QSO with Greg in for KGL, and he said he was having a little hard time understanding me. My audio was bad, and I was running 15 watts. Brought the power down to 5 watts, and I think we're getting a much cleaner signal using 5 watts with this radio. Now, I don't know if at 15 watts I was getting a little RF back into the microphone or what was going on, but I think the best you're going to get out of this radio reliably is going to be 5 watts. Now, they do say the range for receive and transmit is from 0.5 to 30 megahertz. I have not tried to see if it will transmit out of band. Just remember, that's not something you want to do. I'm just kind of curious if this radio has, that capability. It's something you would have to certainly watch out for, because you don't want to transmit out of the allotted HF bands. You can get in a lot of trouble doing that. So be careful with this radio. Some things I like about this radio: it does have a spectrum display on there, so you can see where the signals are. It has a waterfall. That's really nice. However, on a day like today, if you're using it outside, it's like any color screen. I have the same problem with my laptop. You just can't see the screen. You kind of have to shade it, and then even then you're getting a glare. So I do like the color screen. I do like the spectrum waterfall, but in bright conditions, it's almost useless. There's a lot of filters on this radio, and it can do a lot of different kind of filtering, and that's one thing I do like about it. You have, I can't even go into all the different filters, but there's bandpass filters, and there's notch filters. If you can think of a filter, this little radio has it. And it does a pretty good job at filtering out signals. I will say that. I've used some of the filters on when using PSK and digital modes, and it does filter out quite well. Speaking of PSK, this has a decoder for CW and PSK. However, my experience with it, as with a lot of CW decoders, the CW decoder works really well if you're decoding, if a computer's at the other end. If you're decoding a human, everybody's a little different, and the radio has a hard time getting that sometimes, unless they're really good and precise. My experience is it just decodes a lot of E's and T's. Now, the PSK decoder, on the other hand, is not that good either. As a matter of fact, it's pretty bad. I've decoded a few sentences out of several QSOs, but most of the time it's decoding gibberish. So a little bit disappointed there. Maybe they can be fixed in a future firmware upgrade, or software upgrade or some kind of upgrade, but I can tell you that as it stands right now, the PSK decoder built into the radio, it's pretty useless. Now, one thing I do like about this radio is the fact that it takes one cable, one simple cable to go from the radio to the computer. The radio end is a mini USB, and it goes right into a USB in your computer. Once you get that set up, Windows 10 has everything you need built into it. I just plugged it right into my Windows 10 machine, and we started on some PSK. Now, the cool thing about it is it uses on FLDigi. It uses the same settings as an FT817. So I just set FLDigi to FT817. It will decode, it will do the rig control, all right there with the FLDigi. So very simple to set up for digital modes with a computer. So big thumbs up. Another nice thing about this radio, it will run from a wide range of voltages from 9 volts up to 15 volts. So very cool with that. And so your options for power are you know, a lot better than some other radios. I'm going to say this about the radio. It is a Chinese clone. And I've had some people comment on my previous videos I made on this radio, well, I'd never buy it because it's a Chinese clone and they're basically ripping off the maker of the kit and this, that, and the other. Part of me agrees with that. I get it. I feel that, yeah, you know, they're taking some money away from the maker of this kit. In my defense, when I bought this radio, like I said, I bought it without doing any research because I just jump into things. So I did not know that. I know it now. But also, the maker of that kit does not sell it as a completely built unit. So, being not that skilled at surface mount projects, I don't have any equipment to put together a kit that has surface mount components. Would I buy this kit again as a Chinese clone? Probably, because the real manufacturer does not sell it as a whole kit. Now, if I'm wrong about that, let me know, but I've been to his website and I didn't see it. So, so for that reason, I feel I would have to buy this again. Do I fully agree with it? And do I feel like it's not giving credit where credit is due and not giving any monetary support to the original creator of the project? Yeah, I believe that's an issue. But I'm not skilled enough to put the kit together. So this would be the only option for me. And I feel it'd probably be the only option for a lot of folks. A lot of people don't have the skills nor the equipment to put together a kit that has surface mount components. All right, and the last quirk, and the thing that really I don't like about this radio, I can live with the fact that it's not 15 watts on every band. I can live with the fact that the screen is hard to see in the daylight. I can live with the fact that it's a Chinese clone and that, you know, the maker of the actual kit isn't getting anything out of it. But my biggest thing that I don't like about this radio is the SWR meter is not accurate. The SWR, when you're fiddling around with this thing, it has this much range, but it's only using this much. So when it's flat at 1:1, it's flat at 1:1. But as you get up closer to, if it's showing 1.7 to 1 or closer to 2 to 1, you're already over 3 to 1 SWR. So the scale is off, way off on this thing. And if you get up to 3 to 1, oh my gosh, I don't even know what the SWR is because my real SWR meter at home is pegged out. So at 3 to 1, you're way over. At 2.5 to 1, you're way over. Normally, you could use a radio at 2 to 1. Not the best, but you could use it without worrying too much about damaging your radio. You can't trust this SWR meter because at 2 to 1, you're already over 3 to 1. So you have to keep that in mind. I don't like it. I wish a firmware update would have fixed that, but it has not. I don't know if it's a problem with the real kit or is it just these Chinese clones. My gut feeling is that it's probably just the Chinese clones. So that's something I don't like. I'm not too happy about. But, you know, other than that, this is a neat little radio. It has a lot of features. It's small, it's compact. It runs off of a lot of different power voltages. So you have a little bit more flexibility in your power supplies. It has digital decoding built into it, although it doesn't work very well. It does have that, and maybe that will be fixed in a future upgrade. It is 15 watts, although not 15 watts on all bands. I would say reliably it's 5 watts, but it's a cool little radio in a cool little package, and I'm having fun with it. So would I buy it again? Yeah, probably. Do I think there's things that could be improved? Absolutely. So I just want to put this out there for all you folks and let you know my thoughts on this radio, and give you fair warning before you buy one, let you know my experiences. So we're set up here today. We're going to have a little bit of fun and see if we can't log a contact. I think I'm going to do some digital work. There we are. We're set up. See how easy this is? One cable from the radio to the computer, and you are on digital. No external sound device, no SignaLink, nothing like that. One cable. So easy. So what we have here, we've got the radio, we've got the computer, we have our Nelson antennas, 9 to 1 unun. We've got a couple of these little fiberglass or bamboo masts. Thanks to, again, give a shout out to K9 ARV, Tony. Gave me that idea a year or two ago. And still using these. So this is set up in a kind of an inverted L formation. Where you see the antenna there. It's a nice setup. That's worked well for me in the past with the 817 and digital work. Very quick and easy to set up. Doesn't take very long. That's certainly a great option for radar. Rapid deployment amateur radio right there. And this little radio with the computer, man, you can do a lot with that.
That's on 7215.5. And again, we have a website, looking at victory.net. And again, to say the details certainly are there.
That's the main thing. So enough about sports. Now, I listened today, Earl, and I don't think this is politics, so I don't consider it politics.
They had this little shoreline all fixed up before the hurricane. It was really nice. Had white sand out here. A hurricane came and tore it all up. So hopefully they get this fixed, because it was really nice down here. Look at this water. Man, that's pretty inviting right there. Are y'all jealous? Where y'all at? Y'all jealous of this water? Some of y'all may be around water like this. Some of y'all may not be. Tell you what, for all you folks up around mountains, when I see that, I'm a little jealous of y'all. Do love some mountains, but I love this water as well.
So it's not permanent, and they crank it up and crank it down, over.
All right, folks. Well, it's been a nice afternoon or nice morning, whatever it is, here at the park today. It's nice to get out the equipment and enjoy a little bit of sunshine and warm weather after a kind of wet spring. Things have finally dried out and sun has come out, and it's a beautiful day. So it's good to get out on days like this. So it was nice to break out the radio and talk to you guys a little bit about it and share my thoughts and all about this Ailunce HS1 or recent RS-918, whatever you want to call it. It's good to share my thoughts on that with you guys. So yeah, I had the radio out, did a little bit of digital stuff, and scanned the bands, and there's a little bit of activity on the bands today on 20 meters. So it was nice to hear. So we're going to go ahead and get everything packed up and head back to the house. Want to do some things around there, little yard work. Still doing some work after the hurricane, so we'll probably be doing hurricane work for a year. But I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in today. Remember, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Head on over to my Patreon page if you like what you see, and you can sign up for $1 a month and just kind of contribute to what I do here, so I can continue bringing new products such as this radio and everything to you guys. That's what I like to do. So it just kind of helps me and helps the channel out. So head on over to the Patreon page. So at this time, we'll go ahead and end this video and say 73, everybody. Hope to catch you in a future video. And remember, if you're a ham radio operator, I certainly hope to catch you on down the log. This is Bob, KK4DIV. Until next time, see ya.